Here we go on another adventure to the Bonneville Salt Flats. We're traveling out Highway 20 past Clear Lake. We stopped and met a friend who was on her way to Hawaii and a gas station there and off into the Central Valley. We always stop at that place to heat up some lunch, give the tourists something to look at. It's the Truckee River and into Nevada. Here we are in Lovelock to get some fuel, see our friends at Two Stips, and we're off to correct some world speed records. You can't get through Nevada without seeing some of those orange cones. Just try it. And onto the salt to set up the pits. This year there was a lot of water on the salt, which made for beautiful scenes, but a lot to drive through, and it really made a mess out of a lot of vehicles. I bet my exhaust system weighed 200 pounds when we were done. Things are starting to dry up as you get close to the pits. Plenty of potholes, but eventually you'll get there and the show begins. There's Tech. That thing was pretty cute. As usual, we pit next to the porta potties. We got through Tech really well and checked in by the chicken. There was an air show in Wendover that weekend, so they spent some time flying over the race course. It was fun to see some of these great old planes and hear them. The digital camera really captures them well. Getting some fuel from Rick Gold at ERC. We just ran 110 on this event, even though we did run in the fuel class. It's really good gas and has worked well for us. Back off the salt through the swamp. That's Rex Bobota's car. This is the Peanut Gallery at Pilot Peak. These folks come up from Ukiah to wish us well, and then they are goofing around with this old prison transport plane here. It was a lot of fun traveling around with these characters. There's that bomb you're not supposed to touch. Might go off. And now it's time to start racing. You see a lot of magnificent sunrises out of here. It's one of the best things is to be there before the sun comes up and watch all this. Here's a riders meeting. It was largely attended, much bigger meet than normal due to the closing of Speed Week. But it was all manageable and went really well. We were going down the course to check things out and then get back in line to run. We got a pretty early run, but I'd geared it too tall and it really wouldn't pull it, so we only ran about a 144. Sounds good though.
Actual times on the bike, 139.494 in the first mile, and 142.247 in the second mile. Both those are qualifying runs because
you can see how far Steve has to pull off the course to get on the return road to follow me down. They want to keep everything safe and they make sure all the traffic is well off the course. Here we are changing the final drive to the lower gear set, and which worked really well. I went back and forth about doing this before we left and got talked into leaving the high gears in there, but it didn't work out. This girl had the good sense to bring a tutu with her and race with it. That was a lot of fun. This is the late night air-cooled team out of Chico. We're out there racing. We saw a lot of them there. They're friends of Steve's, and he did pretty well, I think. This little thing's pretty cute. It's a little custom-built Bonneville racer. This is our second run of the day that went really well. We ran a 155 plus, which is the fastest it had run up to that point. It was really something. See how happy everybody is when we got that timing slip. But it didn't last long. After we were in impound about 20 or 30 minutes, Matt gave us the bad news that I had mistakenly filled out my computer codes on the entry form, and that run would not be qualified. So we had to go back the next morning and re-qualify. Right here. Those little black markers I'm going through are every quarter mile. I managed to hit one of those at 150 some miles an hour, and it did kind of goof up the run some, but we made the record, which was really awesome. And also speaks well for how stable a Moto Guzzi is at high speeds. They're really good for this. Back in impound. These are some of the runs out on the long course we got to watch after we were in impound. That's the Tijuana Taxi. That sprint car was really fast. I think they got it well over 200 miles an hour. There's the world's biggest toolbox. That was from the Burton Brown gang. They had all kinds of neat things. And back out the next morning to back it up. USFRA starters were the best. They knew my MS situation, and they really helped me get through this with the minimum trouble. Here I am talking with one of the Birkdals about why it took me so long to get off the course and discussing hitting the course marker. So I guess that was on this run where I clipped the course marker on the return run. But we still made the record by like 14 1/1000ths. Here you can see all the work Steve has to do to help me make these runs. There's a lot of things for the team to do. We don't know how fast he ran, but we're thinking it was pretty good. Although it was close.
He's running a little slower than yesterday. He's lost 13 miles an hour on the third mile.
Here I load him up with all this stuff. Take this and this. Then kind of do my part with getting the bike into position. Boom, and in the chalk, that Baxley Sport chalk makes this really easy. But here you can watch me get off the bike and see what a time I'm having. This is where the MS really shows up. But it all worked out really well for us. Now it's somebody else's turn. We qualified for that record and then entered the fuel class and to try and set a record in that class. There's Juan in one of the late night vehicles. Caught a little bit of rain at the end of that day. That's the Thompson Streamliner there that Steve observed that he had to go 417 to get into impound, and we only had to go 156, which is pretty darn cool. So back out for the last run. Our previous run was a 156.233. There's our tutu girl again. And so we were in good position on this fuel record. We ran a 152 this morning. People seem to like to take pictures of my backside. I don't know why. I caught some rain right at the end of the course. That was pretty exciting. It just blew up over the top of the windshield. This is Johnny Cheese coming to a stop right beside me there. He bopped his foot off the peg at 220 something, and so he had kind of a hard time with that run. We're in impound doing the teardown now, measuring the motor to see if it's legal, and it was, just barely. It's 757 cc's. You're allowed at 20 thousandths overbore, and I took advantage of that because I'd broken all the 82.5 cylinders I could get my hands on. And here we are in Lovelock, happy and on the way home.